We're continuing our discussion today with Dr. Larry Visser about God's call, God's work in his life, and Dr. Visser's work here at LaGrave. So speaking of music, it's no real secret that here at LaGrave, music is pretty important to us, and people really enjoy the style of worship that we do here. We've heard from several people, all the people who come here, that the style of music that we have here is one of the reasons that draws them. Over your course of 20 years being here, what has changed within the music world here? And secondly, what are some things that should never change, or that you know can never change here?
So specific ways in which our worship has changed, I think, for the better, include, first of all, a greater variety of music, both choral and organ music. I can think of examples that we've done from the classical music genre, Bach cantatas and Handel coronation anthems with the Grand Rapids Symphony, and we've done all the styles of music from that to gospel music and spirituals, and occasionally I'll play a gospel music style piece on the organ, and again it's trying to meet every worshiper's needs. And I think that's been a good change in worship. Something that I'm quite proud of in my tenure is our purchase of not one but two new hymnals in the pews. Hymnals have a shelf life of about 25 to 30 years, and it was time for us to replace both hymnals. And what that has done is it's allowed our congregation to express their faith through song in a more contemporary way. Both language and music, both. We have a rich array of hymn texts and music of all styles in both of those hymnals. I can think of specific examples of the Keith Getty and Stuart Townend songs, In Christ Alone, The Power of the Cross, which have become staples now in many churches' hymnody repertoire, and have become beloved here too. And years ago those songs were not around, and they are now appearing in many hymnals. And so I think that was a wonderful way of enriching worship, to get those new hymnals. Other things, I strive to use more instruments in worship, which is a great way, an easy way to involve children and youth in worship, which we always need to keep before us, so important. We have invited more guest choirs to worship. Also important to involve some of our youth from our Christian schools. And in doing so, it strengthens the bond between Christian school and church, which is important. It gets them here and seeing a different kind of worship maybe than they're used to. So that's been a change in worship. And then lastly, I feel there's been more creativity in planning some of our special services. These are ideas that I brought to staff many years ago. Specific examples are the Epiphany service, was started many years ago. I took that idea from Ann Arbor Christian Reformed Church. The Maundy Thursday service, whereas we've always done a short Tenebrae service, I took the model that Calvin College uses for their Tenebrae, and brought that here, probably 10 or 15 years ago already. And it's become one of the most beloved services of the whole year within our congregation. And also the Christmas Eve candlelight service. We used to do more of a lessons and carols format, and now it has become more thematic, centered around a specific theme for the Christmas day. And those are all things which have changed in worship, I think, for the better.
For the better, yep.
Exactly.
Any other things you think that should not change around?
I think people appreciate, as you said, they hear it all the time. They come to LaGrave because of our formal traditional worship, and I think that should not change. It's not to say that all music has to be in the same style. There's ways, for instance, the Getty hymns, we use those in a very traditional way, accompanied by organ and sometimes piano. So it doesn't mean we have to do all Bach or all early music, but I think that we should stick with what works here,
And
our formal traditional worship.
Yeah. So Larry, over your course here, you talked a lot about God's call, God's direction for you coming to LaGrave. Have you seen a change in the call? Has the call evolved at all while you've been here?
I think long tenures at LaGrave have become commonplace.
Yeah.
And I have colleagues here who have been here many more years than I have, but having been at LaGrave now 20 years, it has only strengthened my sense of God's call in his life, that LaGrave is the place where he placed me to minister most effectively with the gifts he's given me. So as I look on upon that 20 years of ministry, I look back thankful that I've been given a wonderful instrument to play to start with.
The beautiful organ.
One of the best in the city, if not nation. That's a real gift. I've been blessed with a wonderful and healthy music ministry made up of volunteers all the way from children to adults and youth, a very supportive and active music ministry, which is a blessing. I've been blessed with colleagues who are supportive and are wonderful friends, as well as colleagues, and I've been blessed with a congregation that is easy to love. As Paul Mons stated it, and those are all wonderful things. So I think things have gone extremely well, and I've heard God's call in this place. I think we've been blessed as a congregation through the music ministry, but I've also been blessed personally in my position and in my call here in this specific place. And that's what I pray for in the future. I pray for those blessings to continue.
Dr. Visser, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your call with us. I know LaGrave has been blessed through your ministry, through God's work, and both your teaching, your playing, and just your vision of music and how worship should be here. So we just thank you so much for being willing to take some time out of your day and share these with us.
It was a pleasure. Thank you, Jonah.